We're live. Hey, Sam and David here in EuroAsia Scrum on Monday the 29th of September. I'll go first. I've only got a very brief update because I've not done anything on Agile Ventures since last EuroAsia Scrum, and plans really just to come back tomorrow morning and run EuroAsia Scrum tomorrow morning. So that's all going well. It's nice to see the website one going back up at full speed this last few days.
Yes.
And the new updates back in as well to see your names appear from the Hangout bot.
Oh yeah. Good show.
All good. Sam, have you to share?
Yeah. So various things going on. Yeah, I guess feels like it was a busy week last week in Agile Ventures. There was a lot of controversial stuff going on. I think we kind of ended up resolving it. At least I hope we ended up resolving it. Yeah, it's yeah. I don't know. Did you follow much of the discussion of responsibilities and behavior and so on?
No, I saw it kind of going and earlier in the week, but I didn't follow the later discussions.
No, fair enough.
I'll have a read back through it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's no. Anyway, well, yeah. I mean, I was considering posting a big article on it. I mean, I think it's very interesting questions are raised about the way in which projects should be run. I mean, I think it's a great discussion to be having. I think, unfortunately, the discussion became somewhat acrimonious in places, and yeah. Anyway, so I mean, I spent a lot of my weekend still, even though I think it's kind of been resolved, but still, looms large in my mind. It's sort of kind of exhausting. I'm relieved to be, but so I was, in on the train this morning, and I had 3 nice pull requests from Marion and Michael and from Paul on local support, and I was just, seeing. It seems like over the weekend there's been a lot of activity and positive activity, so that's very pleasing. The OSRA project seems to be going really strong, and I think that's kind of fantastic, because the OSRA project, unlike the other projects which is that we have, like local support and Website One and even Autograders, are slightly nepotistic, if you know what I mean. They're started in-house, whereas the OSRA project is kind of like a totally outside person has come in as a client, and now totally new people in terms of developers are working with them on it, and they seem to be having a good time making good progress. So that's very pleasing. Yeah, so in terms of that's sort of what's been on my mind going forward. So I've got all requests of Autograders to sort of sort out. We've also got the ones that kind of got the AV102 course is fully in play, and we've got we're now into week 2, and I think we've released the week 2 materials. I just got a message from Thomas telling me that we've got 159 people enrolled in the course, which is great news. Yeah, and yes, I think the big thing is what we'll see is how many of those people will get involved in Agile Ventures, and if by running a project track in parallel with the TA track, whether we'll have more people stick around. That's an interesting question. I think if we don't, and I think after the next run of the MOOC, we might want to start asking questions about whether we need to start charging for membership for Agile Ventures. I start to, I think what we have is so beautiful, but I worry that it will carry on sort of bumping along the ground, and the opportunities for pairing will be relatively sparse. You in particular, also Thomas, Yara in the past, myself, we're all putting in, the time to do the scrums, and it's great for us to stay in touch, and that's wonderful. But you know what I mean? I think in the long run, if people are putting in, and Pavel as well, particularly doing if there are people making the time for these things, I almost wonder if people would make more use of us as a resource if they were actually paying a very small amount of money for it. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that makes any sense to you. Anyway,
yes, yeah, the psychology's tricky on that. Some people, I think, it works different in different situations, and
yeah.
I don't know why. And some people will just pay for something, and as soon as they're paying for it, they don't care about it. And other people, other times, it's a guarantee that they show up because they paid for a ticket.
That's right. Yes, I mean I think that I'm now director of engineering here at Makers Academy, and what's interesting is how much more committed people are here. I think partly related to pay, and that's what they also see in the edX 169 course. Is the people who pay money for it tend to be much more committed. But what's interesting about what Makers Academy did is they also have a series of sponsorship and so on. So they've got, for example, one homeless person is here doing the course because they've got a scholarship to do it. And I wonder if, I mean, one of the things I love about the initial MOOC wave and the what we've done at Adventures is it's free around the world, and so people don't have to worry about that. But I wonder if we might move towards a situation where there is a membership fee, but it gets waived for people who can demonstrate needs. Do you know what I mean? Like continue to make it accessible. But anyway, I don't know. I'm just we'll see. Maybe we can achieve a bigger critical mass with this latest AV102. But yeah, so I think that's about it from Makers today. I guess we're moving towards having a prototype of this new online course from Makers that we'll be able to make available to people like yourself. So I'm looking forward to sharing that with you and other core Agile Venture members in the not-too-distant future. We've also got the Berkeley Business School graduates are experimenting with this, paying some individuals to be tutors for the 169 course. So lots of things going on. I guess what I was going to mention to you, is that something that you might be interested in, David? I guess, or are you working full time now?
No, not yes. No, that would be interesting. Yes, either 169 or the online makers.
Right.
Package, yes.
Yeah. Well, the difference in the first instance is that the 169 one will pay potentially if you can recruit students to it. The makers one will not pay, but it will be access to a whole load of new material. With the 169 one, there's also not going to be any new material. With the makers thing, you'll get access to the makers material. But the guy who's running, it's Jonathan, who's running the UC, it's I think the Optu course. Let's call it something. They're using the Optu course framework, which I think maybe they have created. The Optu course guys are looking for they're looking for recommendations for me for people who really know the material and would be good. And I can't think of better people than such as yourself. So if that's all right with you, I might pass your name on to Jonathan.
What's the name of the chap?
The name of the person is
Jonathan.
Jonathan Hayne, E-Y-N-E. He's a graduate, I believe, of the UC Berkeley Business School, and is kind of like in collaboration. I mean, Armando is helping him kind of trial this Optu course idea. I think they ultimately what they want they want to be able to facilitate small groups of learners where work with a kind of a paid TA. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. Yeah. Anyway, so Sam Pretty and Mike Smith Nova, you might remember, are both signed up for that, and Thomas might be doing it, although of course he's pretty busy with lots of different things. And Jonathan was looking for a couple more people to be involved in the first run. So I'll pass them on your email address if that's something. That's all right.
Yes, please. Yeah, we'll look at what he did. How he auditions people for that. That would be interesting.
Yeah. And then the other thing that I was going to mention to you is about the EuroAsia Scrum, and I was wondering if you fancied swapping EuroAsia and EuroScrum with. I'm sort of thinking that particularly if I can get the key for the external part of this office, I am actually in a position now. I could run EuroAsia Scrum, and I've just been thinking recently that for me, actually, whereas in the past the Euro Scrum and the Atlantic Scrum were the two that I had space for. There is some flexibility now, but I wonder on your side, is EuroAsia is kind of, obviously you're in the routine of doing that. Would running the Euro Scrum fit in with your routine, or would that be a big stretch?
On most days, it would be actually quite good. Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not something that we have to do immediately. I just wanted to sort of put the idea out there, but maybe we would consider swapping, because I think that for me, I've got this full working day every day at Makers, and the sort of the two scrums seem kind of it's sort of I think the makers people are very, very understanding that this is a valuable thing to be doing. But I'm just sort of thinking about how it fits in with where there's certain meetings around that time in the morning that sometimes it's a conflict with. And also, I mean, not that EuroAsia Scrum necessarily seems to be, well, recently it's only been 4 members in most scrums, but I was also thinking, by doing 2 scrums further apart, that increases my chances of meeting a wider, range of people potentially.
Yeah, that sounds really,
Yeah.
really good. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, no, I can't do everyone, but I can do several Monday to Friday.
right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we can.
Yeah.
And I think there are other people who can also help with.
Oh, good.
Thomas is
Yeah.
often around, and I think Thomas from this week, because he had another job that was taking up a lot of his time, and I think he's going to have a lot more flexibility going forward this week. Although he also likes EuroAsia Scrum as a time slot. Anyway, now that I know that's something that might work for you, I need to get this fob key thing that lets me into the external part of the actual building here to make sure that I can always be here. And once I've done that, I'll get back in touch and see if we might swap over on those things.
Okay, let me know when you're ready to swap then.
Yeah,
All
great stuff.
Okay. Good.
Okay, yeah. And I guess